We were so close. We were so close. We had a single day of just nice, constructive 76 discussion, just talking about Wastelanders, what could be for the future of Fallout, all good stuff. And here we are a day later, and we're talking about the latest hack for Fallout 76. Oh boy. Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today with another Fallout 76 news update. Now, I didn't get a chance to cover the late December Fallout 76 hack where people were going into other players' inventories and stealing all their items. Around that time, I am on my what I call winter break. I work all year to earn myself a little bit of time off during the holidays. I had a lot of content planned for while I was away that I worked extremely hard on, and based off the reception and the numbers, it seemed like a lot of people really liked what I put a lot of my time into. So I'm glad I stuck to my guns. I didn't hop off of my vacation to just cover yet another Fallout 76 hack, and it seems like Bethesda had me covered because here we are, another hack to talk about. This one pretty substantial. Is it on the level of being able to steal from other players' inventories? No, but it's still really bad. We'll get into it. And I mean, since I didn't get a chance to talk about the inventory hack, I decided to compile together this very large write-up of my exact thoughts and feelings as to what happened in late December. So here, enjoy. Okay, so just so everyone knows, that whole hack has been patched. Bethesda actually reached out to some of the players who had their accounts stolen from, duplicated their characters, and then provided them with everything that they had lost. And on top of that, one of the players had been giving 8,250 atoms. And depending on if you're like a Fallout First sub or not, it changes on the rewards Bethesda gives back to you. But it seems like they finally got that whole issue under wraps. But now there is a new hack from the same player who provided the hack earlier that I was talking about. That's why I see backstory, lore, right? It's important. So let's read what this hack is capable of. And then Juicehead actually has some gameplay on his channel showcasing some of the hacks in action that are pretty wild. So here we go. Player ESP. Draw disabled players can bypass render distance in Nuclear Winter. So this gives you a gameplay advantage when playing Nuclear Winter, where pretty much there isn't that draw distance, that fog of war that cuts you off. It essentially lets you see anyone on the map. NPC, ESP, container, junk scrap, plan recipe, item, ESP, junk/scrap looter, item looter. As you can see here, you're able to pretty much just look around the area and then take all the items that you want with relative ease. Weapon editor, projectile redirector, magic bullets. So what this allows you to do is select a target, and it doesn't matter where you're facing, where you're aiming, the bullets will redirect to that target. So once again, this is one of those hacks that can be used in Nuclear Winter and give you a very unfair gameplay advantage. No clip, this lets you run through any part of the map. I think a lot of us who have used console commands on the Fallout 3 or New Vegas games will know what this actually does. Really not the end of the world in your own single player environment, but when you're doing this in a multiplayer game, yeah, it presents problems. Editable action points, unlimited AP, editable jump height, and strength, which allows you to sprint while over encumbered. So unlimited AP is probably the most egregious here, as I'm sure we all are aware, because you can sprint for as long as you want, giving you a high mobility advantage. You're also able to jump, for example, gigantic buildings or over large pieces of terrain in the environment, which I think can also let you get from point A to point B quicker than the average bear. And unlimited strength, while they mentioned that it's also allowing you to sprint while over encumbered, which lets you just use the, for example, item looter hack, get everything, and then just run to where you gotta go, or fast travel to where you gotta go. It doesn't matter. I also wonder if that strength will apply to your melee damage and allow you to maybe one-hit anything. I don't want to speculate too much, but you get the point. Probably not the best thing in the world for the game. You can equip broken items with this hack, so you can use whatever item you want to your desire. It does not matter. One position kill. Item transferring, which allows infinite stash capacity. I could see this one spiraling out of control, because if you guys remember when Fallout 76 first launched, they had that whole stash issue. I think they had 400 pounds of a stash limit, and Bethesda said the reason they started small and then wanted to continue to expand, I think they went to 600 next, was because it was a server-based thing. They had to account for everyone's items every single time they were all on a server, and it could cause a lot of problems. So if everyone has infinite stash capacity, this can become a really big widespread issue. And lastly is teleporter. Pretty self-explanatory, lets you go wherever you want on the map. I think it doesn't matter how much you have in your inventory or what's going on. You can just do what you want, go where you want. And so, as you can see here, a lot of these hacks wouldn't be a big deal if you were in a single player game, but because 76 is online and these hacks give you really significant gameplay boosts, it becomes a problem. Furthermore, one issue that I've seen that a lot of other creators have attested to is that this hack is relatively easy to acquire, right? So that's the other thing, is if it's easy to acquire, easy to get into your game, and then you have access to all this stuff, the 76 may have another issue heading its way. When it comes to this pretty enormous list of hacks or cheats or whatever you want to call them, the biggest point of impact really isn't going to land in the PvE adventure mode, although it's unfair because you're going to be able to auto loot everything and you can see where all the enemies are and what have you. It's not going to directly impact another player's experience, although it still should not exist and Bethesda should get on fixing it. The main point of impact will absolutely be the nuclear winter mode, aka Battle Royale. This is most unfortunate in my opinion because I really liked Nuclear Winter in Fallout 76, and I know that's kind of funny to say because Bethesda's specialty should absolutely be in writing great stories and making a compelling Fallout universe, but the most polished part of Fallout 76 for a while was Battle Royale. On PC, it's met a ton of issues. A lot of people are still hacking that mode, still ruining other players' experiences. So what's happening now is Nuclear Winter is going to sort of turn into an avalanche. It was already heading downhill, and now it's going to continue to crash and crumble, which is why I don't want to be hyperbolic with this stuff. I don't think it'll reach the level of attention that maybe the last hack with inventory stealing did, because that impacted all players across the board. All progression was being wiped. It was absolutely awful. But this one is directly going to hurt Nuclear Winter between fog of war, player balance being upset, auto-targeting, and I have to wonder how Bethesda plans on responding to this, because it's yet another hack from the same person, and I have to imagine they're getting very fed up with it, having to always fix the holes this guy's punching into their game. Maybe Bethesda should have considered building a more stable online game, just saying, but despite all of that, I have to wonder, what's the response this time? How many apologies can you continue to fork out to your audience? How many times can you say, thank you for your patience and understanding? I mean, we just have to rewind the clock a little bit towards the end of last year, where Bethesda was really celebrating the progress of Fallout 76 and thanking their fans on how great a year it had been in 2019 for 76, when the game didn't really see any major step forward. Bethesda has become a king of sticking their head in the sand until the storm has passed. So don't expect any type of direct response here. It will be a long overdue response, one that Bethesda will get to when they feel like it. And I'm sure, much like with the player inventory hack, it will be a proper response, right? They'll give you your atoms, they'll give you compensation, they'll give you all your items back, but you're not going to see this gigantic public apology and Bethesda bending the knee like so many people are dying for them to see. Not because I don't want them to, but because I don't think it's really feasible based off how they've responded to so many past issues. I mean, let's think of it this way. Bethesda really never issued an official response to Fallout First, which was widely condemned, like super duper widely condemned. Videos everywhere, tweets, Facebook posts, everything was talking about Fallout First, and Bethesda did nothing to respond to it. All it's sort of highlighted is that this is what people feared with 76, and Bethesda just can't escape it now. They made their bed, they have to lie in it, right? Because when we talked originally, before 76 existed, when we just talked about Bethesda chasing an online trend, I distinctly remember people saying like they'd have to create a new engine. You know, Creation Engine can't support online infrastructure, and to build an online game on the shambling foundations of that engine, just as we can see here, has completely blown up in Bethesda's face once more. There's nothing much more to go on other than it's just another significant hack. It's another chapter in the long story that is 76, and as I said, I like to continue to cover 76 because for me, when something significant happens, I want to be in that conversation as well as an informed source, not as someone who's just spouting nonsense. So Bethesda's got to do something. I don't know what. They got to do something. Before Wastelanders drops, they got to do something because it's one problem after the other, after the other. So we'll see how widespread this hack gets, how much damage it causes, because inevitably it will. We'll see it on the Fallout Reddit. I'm sure you'll see subsequent updates. It's all about just how quickly Bethesda gets around to it, which we've seen how long it took them to respond to a player who had an inventory hack. The update I showed was from a couple of weeks ago, and the whole hack happened towards the end of December, man. So it's just like, they got to do something. They got to do something, right? Like, they got to figure it out. I'm not holding my breath. Once again, as I say in all my 76 videos, people think when I cover it, I'm sitting here like, oh, please figure it out. I'm just sitting here just like, enjoy the show, people. Enjoy the show. Let them figure it out. With that said, I'm signing off. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. What do you guys think of 76's newest hack? Are you entertained? Let me know. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Big thank you to all the patrons who continue to support all the content I create, whether it's Fallout, Persona, Star Wars. You guys always have my back, and I really appreciate that. I'll talk with all of you soon. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.